everybody. Welcome to the NightCap Live. I'm Dan Dunn, and can I just say, I've missed you guys. It's been a few weeks since we've done this. Maybe it's even been a month or something. It's been a while. But I'm going to tell you something. It's going to be worth the wait because we're coming in strong 2 nights. I got rum. We're going to have some rum tonight. And we're going to have it with a returning champion on the show. Glen Big Baby Davis, who's been on the show before, and he's just a great dude to talk to. He's going to be joining us in just a little bit, as is Marc Farrell, who is the founder of 10-to-1 Rum. Marc's going to learn us on some rum, and it's going to be exciting. I got to tell you. In fact, I'm so excited about this. I'm going to open some rum right now, and I'm going to pour it into my little Glencairn glass, and I'm going to raise a toast to Glen and Marc and to all of you. Thanks for joining us. So what have you been up to this year? Anything exciting? It's crazy. When we started this thing, I think the idea was we're going to do it for a little, do it for a couple of weeks while the pandemic lasted for a couple of weeks. And here we are 9 months later, and we're still doing it. So I got to say, this has been a real source of joy and inspiration for me getting to do this with you guys week in and week out. And for anybody out there that's having a rough time, just know that me and everybody at Flaviar are thinking about you. And, if you sign up for Flaviar, we'll send you alcohol. That always helps. Tonight, going to be a big one. I want to invite you, as I always do, to check out my podcast, What We're Drinking with Dan Dunn. You can follow me at The Imbiber. The podcast has its own Instagram now. It grew up, and I was like, you know what? Leave the nest. Have your own Instagram. It's WWD_podcast. That's where you can check out anything that has to do with that. Let's see. We're having a contest like we always do on the show. And tonight the contest is a bottle of this and a bottle of this. That's right. We're giving away 2 bottles of 10-to-1 rum this evening. And let me think of, I got an idea about what we can do. 40 years ago today, John Lennon, the great John Lennon of the Beatles, was killed 40 years ago today. Very tragic. I remember where I was a little kid. I was watching was at my aunt's house, and Monday Night Football was on, and Howard Cosell came on at halftime during Monday Night Football and told the world that John Lennon had died. And that was a very tragic thing. But we're going to take that tragic thing. We're going to try to find something uplifting in it tonight, and that's going to be our contest. And so here it is. I want you in the comments box, and you see that comments box. I believe it's this way to the left, or maybe it's down here or over here, wherever it is. In the comments box, I want you to write one lyric, one John Lennon lyric. It could be from the Beatles. It could be solo, just a line, one lyric that lifts you up. I think we could all use that. We could all use some lifting up during this time. So a John Lennon lyric that lifts you up, put that in quotation marks, and then add an extra line or two about why it lifts you up. Right? That sounds like fun. And so what'll happen then is Glen and Marc and I at the end will go through some of the entries, and we're going to choose 2 winners. One's going to take home the light rum, and one's going to take home the dark rum. So a John Lennon lyric on the 40th anniversary of him leaving us that lifts you up, and why. Okay? We mentioned Flaviar brings us here. They're the ones that put this on. And I got to tell you, you should join up. It's a membership club. Every quarter you get a box, and it's got a full bottle in there. It's got some tasting stuff in there. It's got all kinds of cool stuff. I'm screwing up the brand messaging. I do this on purpose because I like to have the meeting afterwards where they say, well, Dan, you did a good job, except you messed up the messaging. It's Flaviar. Come on. It's cool. You see it. It's all over your Instagram. So sign up. Be one of us. Glen and Marc are members. I'm a member. They sent me this cool wall. So the least you can do is sign up. So yeah, I want to have some rum this evening, and I want to talk to Glen. So I'm going to roll right in. We're going to roll right in. As I mentioned, he's been on the show before, and he killed it last time. And so we'll see how he does tonight. He is a former NBA star. He won a championship How many other people can say they've won an NBA championship? I don't know what the number is. Maybe he knows, but let's bring him on right now. Glen Davis. How are you, man?
What's going on, guys? How you guys doing, man?
It's good to see you, brother. Everything good?
Everything's good, man. I'm in the house, staying corona free, man. Just trying to, follow the guidelines, wash my hands. I'm just, I'm doing other things in basketball now. So it's been exciting.
Well, the last time we saw each other was a few months ago.
Yeah.
And I don't think either one, it was kind of near the beginning of COVID, I believe. And I don't think either one of us thought we'd still be locked up, but you're doing okay. You look like you look healthy. You look like everything's. So what are you doing now to keep yourself busy?
I just been trying to stay busy and working, and I'm in the production world and trying to create shows, and that's been fun and just a whole new life for me. So I'm super, super excited. I got my my podcast going, and interviewing all my friends. It's been pretty cool. Been a good little.
Hey, what about me?
Hey!
I'm ready.
I forgot about you, man.
I'm on yours and you're on mine. We talked about this last time. We got to make that happen, man.
Yeah, we got to, man. We definitely.
Do you ever miss basketball though? Do you miss playing on a competitive level? I'm sure you probably still play when you can, but do you miss playing at that highest level?
As a competitor, yes, right? When you want to compete, you see your friends still competing. You know what I mean? You have that fight, but then it's like, man, small ball's kind of different. It's like, the game's faster. You got to be really, really in shape, and then also be injury free in a way. So I miss some of it, and then I don't miss it. So I have my days when I miss it, and then I have my days when I'm excited about this new life of mine.
What did you think of the job they did last season with the bubble and everything? I mean, it was really, they sort of showed the way, the NBA. Were you impressed with how they handled the whole thing?
Yeah, I was. I was really impressed. Adam Silver did a really, really good job of just trying to keep basketball going in spite of what was going on. They tried to they found out a way to give us something in the pandemic and be excited about. So it was so good to see basketball just sitting in the house.
And it's starting again in 2 weeks, right?
I know. It's crazy. That's so crazy. I already know Braun probably going crazy right now. You know what I mean? So I couldn't imagine having to suit up probably 2 months later. That's unbelievable.
Now, who do you they locked up LeBron, they locked up Paul George. Do you think the Lakers are the team to beat again this year?
You know what? They're the champions. So, the champions are going to be the team to beat. You know what I mean? I just want to see how everything else unfolds. You know what I mean? Who are they going to play? Who's going to be the team to press them or, give them some competitive, versus or something. I'm thinking the Clippers. I want to see Brooklyn. I don't know, but
Well, Glen, I'm going to go on a limb here and say this is the year my 76ers get it together. I think this is the year Simmons and Joel Embiid. Joel's going to show up. He's going to be in shape.
No, bro.
And Simmons is going to have a jump shot.
No, bro. No, I'm sorry, man. I don't know, man. I don't know what they gonna do, man. But
you mean you can't play in the NBA without a jump shot?
Yeah, you can't play in the NBA without a jump shot, big fella. You gotta hit something, man. You gotta be able to shoot.
You're saying that I should not get my hopes up for the Sixers.
No, don't get your hopes up. Don't get your hopes up.
All right. Okay.
Try next year, following year, when they trade one of those guys.
You played for the Celtics. Would you like their chances this year?
I don't know, man. They gotta show another level. I think Kemba is hurt right now. I think if he doesn't come to play, I think it's too much of a load on Tatum so young. I think it's a good learning curve for Tatum, because he's going to get better and learn how to carry the load more. But they need help. I think Gordon Hayward leaving kind of hurt them.
When you were in the NBA, you mentioned that with Tatum. how important, like how much of a role did some of the older players, was that a big part of the game? Like the older players sort of taking you under the wing, or did it all stem from was it more from the coach than it was?
You know what? I think one of the reasons why I got to play as many years as I played is because of the older guys. Guys like KG, guys like Ray Allen, showing you prime examples every day of how to be a pro. You know, to understand some type of way of how to be a pro. I think having older guys on the bench, like a Udonis Haslam for Miami Heat, who's played, in the NBA for 17 years now, being able to be there and police and help police, I think it's huge for your team. So, yeah, veterans are big.
And not just on the court. I mean, I would think a key behavior, because one of the things people, I think, lose sight of is, these are kids.
Yeah.
Particularly in the NBA when it's one and done in college. I mean, these are kids, children, really. They're 19, 20 years old, and they've got all the money in the world, and they've got all the fame in the world, and that's got to be a massive head trip. I mean, how did you handle it? You actually did. How many years did you do it? You were LSU, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I went to LSU. I did 3 years. Left my junior year, then went straight from the Celtics. Played 8 years. And it's really, in order to be able to be successful, you got to reach out to others. Like being young and having all that money and having all that responsibility and things like that, you learn from the veterans. You get an idea about how to be able to last in the league. And then there's another side where you have to be able to learn how to save your money. And, so you got to attach yourself with things that, if you're not the brightest guy, you got to, find out another way, you know what I mean? Or just learn it and take time, you know what I mean? So, it's a process, and it takes a village. It takes everybody around to kind of help those young guys. And you see a lot of that right now in the league.
And navigating the, I imagine there's got to be a lot of people that want a piece of you that might not have your best interest at heart when you're a kid too. So it's a matter of, I guess, a big part of it is, how you were raised and the character you have, and being able to, understand who's got your back and who doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of that, man, and the grace of God too. So you got to pray.
Yeah, there you go. I want to remind everybody, we do have a comment section, not just for our contest tonight, but if you have any questions or comments, Glen would love to answer them. I'd love to answer them, and we're gonna be talking about rum too, and I'm sure you got some questions about rum. And Glen, are you ready to drink? Because I'm ready to drink.
Man, listen, man.
This might be. We're 15 minutes in already. We haven't had a drink yet. Let's bring on. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I'm failing you right now. I am failing you right now. Let's bring on the man, and we can get into his rum. He is the founder of 10-to-1 Rum, and this is the first time we're having him on the show, and it's great to do that. Please welcome Marc Farrell. Marc.
Yo, what's up, fellas? How you doing?
Hey, man. How are you? Where are you coming to us from tonight?
Coming to you from New York City, man. In Manhattan at the moment.
Okay. And thanks for joining us. This is Glen, Marc.
What's going on, Marc Daddy? How you doing?
What's the good word, my brother? How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Awesome, bro. Glad to be chopping up with you guys this evening.
Yeah, man. Thank you for sending the rum. So tell us a little bit about 10-to-1 Rum and how you found what your story was prior to founding the brand.
Yeah, happy to do it, man. So I always kind of start in the same place, which is Trinidad and Tobago. That's where I'm from. That's where I'm born and raised. That's the accent everybody's be hearing 20 years later. I've lived in the US now for a little while. But somebody from the Caribbean. For a long time I've seen this chasm between the way that I experience rum culture, Caribbean culture, where I'm from, Trinidad, versus the way that I often see being brought to life in the US. And so for me, trying to find a way with 10 to 1 to really bridge that gap and bring something that feels much more elevated, much more contemporary to life is a big part of the inspiration for 10 to 1.
By the way, Glenn, have you ever been down to Trinidad and Tobago?
Listen, man, I would, bro. I've seen so many pictures of Carnival, man. I wish I could be there. That's one place I haven't been yet, brother.
Oh, man.
My agent, quick story. My agent married a woman from Trinidad. He said, like, everybody was beautiful. He walked in McDonald's and he seen it like the beautiful woman with pretty eyes. I was just like, oh my God, I want to go. So
yeah, I've been, and I got to tell you, it's everything you imagine it would be. It was quite an experience, Carnival in Trinidad and Tobago. What would you say the style of rum from there versus other areas of the Caribbean? How would you define the style of rum?
So it's a combination. And actually, hold on. Before I answer that question, Dan, I was getting a message off to the side saying that people are hearing me echoing a ton when I'm speaking. Can you guys hear that or no?
I can't.
Okay. Hold on 1 second. I'm just going to try something before let me just...
it says getting a crazy echo. Ask Glenn to mute. Huh. I can't hear it.
Yeah, I can't hear it either.
Yeah.
How about now? Let me just let's see in the comments. Now, guys.
You see.
Oh, yeah. Fixed. Apparently that fixed it. All right.
That fixed it. Okay.
Right. So maybe Glenn and I'll have to alternate a little bit, which is
okay.
Cool. Yeah. So sorry, you asked about the style of rum, right, Dan?
Yeah, the style of rum. Yeah.
Yeah, so actually, with 10 to 1, both of our rums are blends, right? So if you travel around the Caribbean, you're gonna see that like different islands have different distillation methods, actually, different soil composition. So the terroir and the provenance and all of those things vary from island to island, right? So our dark rum has rums from Trinidad, Barbados, Jamaica, and the Dominican Republic in that single blend, right? 3 of those rums are column still rums. The Jamaican rum is a pot still rum. And pot still rums are known for being, to me, they're kind of the most unique rums because they're usually big, bold, funky, higher proof rums, right? A lot of rum nerds enjoy drinking those and messing with those. And so adding a little bit of that to the blend ends up being really interesting when you think about bringing 10 to 1 to life. Our white rum is also a blend of Jamaican pot still rum alongside Dominican column still rum. So again, there you're getting a little bit of sort of the grassy, herbaceous, kind of fresh citrus notes that you would get from a Jamaican pot still rum alongside the Dominican column still, which gives it really great body, stands up incredibly well in a cocktail. If you're using the white rum, it's extraordinary in a daiquiri, white rum Negroni, whole host of different cocktails you can create with it.
The nose on this is just it's so floral, and it's so, man, my mouth starts watering as soon as I get there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's awesome. I mean, with the white rum, just the nose of it alone gets people super excited about it. We'll go into do tastings all the time, and people just pop the top off the bottle, pour a little bit in a glass, right? And then just off that nose, they're like, yep, I'm done, I'm sold, I'm good, right? Where can I get the next bottle? And of course, I mean, the taste is exceptional as well.
Glenn, let's unmute you for a second.
Let's unmute Glenn. I'm gonna go.
We're gonna let Glenn talk in spurts here in case we get the echo. No, you got the rum, man?
Yes, sir. I have the white rum here. And
let's. I want to get your thoughts on this. Glenn is he's got quite the palate. We learned this last time he was on the show. So I want to get what you're getting out of this. And again, invite you. We got a couple of comments and questions coming in, but first I want to hear what Glenn.
I want to talk about the bottle here. The bottle is amazing, straight to the point. I love this feel. Especially sitting on my bar. But like last time, guys, this is a white. And it gives me flashbacks to vodka, but I know It has a different, it's different.
To me, the nose immediately puts me on a beach somewhere in the Caribbean. Just getting that nose, you're like,
big time. I'm getting a fruit.
I'm getting banana.
Sweet, right?
Yeah, you're getting the banana flavor going and a little bit of melon in there as well. Man, it's delicious.
Super delicious. But wow.
Now let me ask Marc while we're here. Marc, what's the origin of the name of the rum?
Yeah, so the name 10 to 1 comes from, is inspired by the original Caribbean Federation, which consisted of 10 countries, right? So it's the idea of 10 becoming 1. Every time I tell people 10 to 1, they think it's either the time of day or, some betting odds or something like that, but it's actually grounded in that original Caribbean Federation. And as Trinidad's prime minister at the time said, he said 1 from 10 equals 0. And he was making the point that if you remove 1 from the collective, the whole thing falls apart, right? So we say that 10 to 1 as a brand is grounded in this idea of community, strength in numbers, this idea that we're stronger together than we are apart, right? If you actually look at the way that it's designed on the bottle with the TTO that's there on the side label as well, TTO is Trinidad and Tobago. Right, it's our country code, it's our call sign. So there's a little hidden wink and a nod to the home country, Trinidad and Tobago, that's built into the design. And I actually appreciate what Glen was saying a little while ago, right? He's saying, this is the kind of bottle, looks super dope, very contemporary, very clean. He'd be proud to have it on his back bar. That was super important to us when we were designing this, right? Like I feel as if a bottle of rum doesn't have to have pirate ships or have to have like a map of the Caribbean islands or whatever on it to feel like it's grounded in like Caribbean history and culture and heritage. You can do something that's like super dope, super modern, very clean, and still be very intentional in the design. And that starts with the name and the origins of 10 to 1.
By the way, I've been told that we can all unmute, Glen. They figured out the problem. So you can unmute. Let's try talking. Let's have a conversation. I want to go right here. Glen, you say something. Glen, you say something.
Yeah, like he was saying, the bottle, like you're right. Like this is hard. Like you know what I mean. It looks great. Like you know what I mean. But I love it. You got me wanting to drink white rum now. Like for real. Like, dead ass.
Bro, I was laughing when you the trepidation. Everybody has those moments, right? They're remembering some crazy vodka hangover, some crazy hangover from spring break in Cancun sometime. And I'm like, yo, just take a little sip, bro. Just give it a shot. Just give it a shot. Because the rum is legit. And part of that problem is, I think also with rum, like, people think it's really sweet, sugar bomb, right? Like you had some slushy daiquiris in Cancun back in the day, right? And this is not that, right? Very elevated.
By the way, if you get slushy daiquiri in Cancun, get a shot. It'll clear it right up.
Exactly.
Oh, are you talking about something else? Oh.
Wash it away. You're done.
You don't want to get slushy daiquiri in Cancun. I'm telling you right now, it's terrible.
You definitely want to avoid those. You want to avoid those, No, but
oh my God. I just mixed it with some juice. Oh my God.
Good.
Oh my God. That's dangerous, people. That's dangerous. It tastes so good. Okay. I see where you're talking about daiquiri. Like, yes, like, because I'm from New Orleans, so I know what you're talking about, so, wow, I love it. Oh, it tastes good.
Oh.
Now, we got a couple questions coming in here. Marie Fitzpatrick. Marie comes in. She tunes in every show. Hi, Marie, out there. Good to have you back with us. She wants to know, Marc, is dark rum typically sweeter than white rum?
Yes, typically a little sweeter, and that's for two reasons. Number one is like, so why are dark rums dark? They're dark because they've been aged in a barrel, right? Well, that's why they're supposed to be dark. So this guy is an 8-year-old rum, been sitting in an ex-bourbon barrel for 8 years. So it's going to pick up the color of the barrel, but it's also going to pick up some additional notes. You'll get a little bit of With this rum, you get a little bit of caramel, a little bit of toffee, a little bit of vanilla. So they're going to have some shades of sweetness to them, for sure, as a darker spirit. Now, the category in the US gets complicated because if you look at spiced rum is not aged. It's just dark because people add caramel coloring and have a bunch of additives and stuff in it. So that rum does taste sweet, but it's because you're adding vanilla extract, you're adding caramel coloring, all that stuff. So the answer to Marie's question is yes. In some ways, in some cases, it's a good thing. It's been barrel aged, it picks up some natural notes. In other cases, they're adding a bunch of stuff to it, which is not the way that the 10-1, I think, approaches the market.
Okay. And then we've got Amy Yakuboff says, I'm getting some pineapple on the nose, and that's a first. Is that what it is, Glen? Because Glen's going, yep, that's it. Is that it? Pineapple?
That gotta be. If she say that, that's gotta be. I know I taste the fruit somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Where's that coming from, Mark? Where's the pineapple coming from? That the wood?
No, from mostly from the Jamaican rum. So again, Jamaican rums, if you're doing a pot distillation method, which is actually the original distillation method, it doesn't separate the distillate as cleanly, right? And so what that actually means is it's going to actually carry some more of the original notes of the rum with it. Jamaican rums have more volatiles, more esters in them. And so both on the nose of the rum and also when you taste it, you're going to pick up some of the original notes that kind of, you know, people when they're drinking wine talk about terroir and all these different notes. With Jamaican rum, you kind of get those same elements. So people always pick up some pineapple. Banana is a very common note that people will pick up as well on Jamaican rums. But yeah, you got a lot of citrus and fresh fruit on that on the Jamaican rum in the white 10-1 for sure.
Mm.
We got Jay Walden's got a question here. He says he's new here. Hi, Jay. Does 10-1 have other offerings besides these two, or are there more on the way?
Yeah, good question. We actually so 2 weeks ago, we actually just launched our third expression, which is a 10-1 reserve. I have, actually, you can see, it's behind there. I got this bad boy.
Whoa.
This is a.
Ooh.
Glenn and I are both like, wait, where's ours?
Yo, Glenn, we gotta hit you with this, bro, and Dan, you too, man. This is no, I got you, Dan. I got you. Don't worry. This is our 17-year single cask reserve. It's actually a Trinidadian rum. It's exceptional, super elegant, amazing sipper. You just drink that neat, nothing else.
And it's all rum from Trinidad.
All rum from Trinidad, yeah. Whereas the other two are actually blends. That one is just we sourced 4 individual casks from Trinidad, bottled them each individually. So like if you got that bottle, it would have, you know, cask 2, bottle 12 on the back. They're all individually numbered, and yeah, it's a pretty phenomenal.
Is it sugar cane or molasses?
Molasses.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when I say that, everybody out there listening, you know, any spirit begins with a starch. Rum tends to be molasses, sugar cane, and you tell the difference a little bit, Mark, between a molasses rum and a sugar cane rum.
Yeah, totally. The easiest way I like to think about it is, if you think about the Caribbean, you have English-speaking islands, Spanish-speaking islands, and French-speaking islands, right? The English and the Spanish-speaking islands are generally molasses-based. Couple exceptions here or there, but they're generally molasses-based. French-speaking, so if you look at like a Martinique, for example, when you hear people talk about agricole rums, that's sugarcane juice, right? So that's the cane juice. And what you said there is true. There's always some basic input, some basic starch, carbohydrate that is used to ferment and then create the distillate. And so in the English and Spanish-speaking Caribbean, they start with molasses. Why molasses? Because that was the byproduct of the sugar refining process, right? So go back to the old colonial days, plantations all over the Caribbean. You're harvesting sugarcane, which you're using to then ultimately sort of like refine into sugar. Molasses was the byproduct from that sugar refining process, which then kind of became the raw material that creates rum, right? So that's the distinction between the two. Whereas in the French-speaking islands, they just cut the cane, crush it, squeeze the juice out, and they use that as the input in the rum making process, if you will.
Well, and let's get real here. You're talking about when it all started. The unpaid labor down there was who actually came up with rum, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Slaves
in the plantations down in the Caribbean invented rum. That's, you know, credit where credit is due here. Make sure everybody, so that's
credit. Exactly. Recognize the origin story of all this stuff, right? I mean, you know, there's a lot of I think disagreement about, you know, which island came up with it first, or is it Barbados, or, you know, but I think generally accepted as Barbados around 1642. And so, then you're very much in the throes of the old colonial plantation slave labor days. And as a byproduct of that whole sort of process in the fields, that's where the molasses came from and where the whole notion of creating rum was born. Yeah.
And then that became such a major, you know, trade between the Caribbean and North America, particularly New England, right? You had mentioned off the air, Mark, that you lived in Boston, and that's kind of where the main delivery was up to Boston, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you're killing it with the rum history, Dan. I mean, that's exactly what happened. You know, when people talk about like the triangle trade, so to speak, right? You think about the sugar plantations in the Caribbean, right? Ultimately being converted into rum. And you're right, Boston was the epicenter of a lot of that trade, actually both rum production and then sort of trade at that time. Some of that rum makes its way to Europe, right? Fundamentally as a currency, right? It has value. And then that currency, that value, then makes its way to Africa because it's then leveraged to then get more slaves, right? So not to kind of take this down a very sort of dark.
No, I mean, but I do think it's. I think it's.
Talk about it. We need to
acknowledge the history. Acknowledge the history.
I mean, that's the origin story, right? So yeah, sugar. When you hear people talk about like how central sugarcane was and ultimately rum was to the economy in those times, when you hear people talk about the triangle trade, that's what they're really referencing, that path that it would weave. And then so it's very crucial to the history, not just of us as a people in the Caribbean, but actually if you're here in the US
in the United States. And tell me if I'm wrong here, Mark, but then I think what happens is the Revolutionary War comes, trade gets cut off to the Caribbean, and then you see the rise of rye whiskey and other things that they're making. Prior to that, rum was what everyone was drinking in the colonial United States. And then when that got cut off, because of the war, then they started, well, what else can we make? We need to keep drinking. So it became rye whiskey, became really a thing.
Yep. That's exactly right. And so whenever people talk to me about, you know, their taste for rum or whether rum has a tradition in the US, I'm like, yo, you guys need to understand that rum was really the OG spirit, right? Like that was really in the mix before rye whiskey and all these other sort of spirits began to take hold, began to take root. So I think, like, you know, for me, trying to bring back some of that appreciation for the spirit is certainly important here. But we're obviously doing it in a much more contemporary fashion with the way that the brand is positioned, the way that the juice is created and brought to market and everything else.
You want to try the dark one now? You want to get into this one? And by the way, we've got a question here from Liana S. Wants to know, are you going to make an agricole yourself? Have you ever thought about doing it?
It's a good question, Liana S. I'm not sure. The way I thought about it is, you know, the two rums we have. I thought this idea again of combining different rums, different distillation methods would be very compelling for the brand. I would love for us to get to a place where there are enough people in the US who are passionate about rum as a category where maybe they're asking for more like single origins. Like, all right, you know, like I understand now how a Barbados is different from a Jamaica. Like maybe 10-1 brings out some of those, like a Barbados, a Jamaica, a Trinidad, a St. Lucia, and kind of runs down the list. The agricole style, again, is more French-speaking Caribbean style than what I'm used to. Super delicious rums, by the way. I love agricole rums, but that maybe is a little bit further on the path, I guess I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ready to get into this bad boy here, Glenn?
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy.
So I tell everybody all the time, I don't know if you're drinking with us at home, you know, when you got it, I love to drink out of a, you see here? You see this one? It's called a Glen Cairn glass. You got the bulbous bottom here. It narrows out so we can get it concentrates those flavors in the nose. You want to swirl it around. You want to agitate it a little bit. You don't want to do this because that's going to blow your nose out when you smell it. You want to kind of hover over the top, keep your mouth open, and breathe it in. And man, I got to tell you, Mark, the aromas on both of these rums are so inviting. And I mean, anybody out there, when you're trying a spirit neat, that's such an important element of the tasting is to get that nose And you don't have to worry about, am I identifying the right the notes? Am I ever this? But what it just does is it kind of primes you. It gets you ready, right? It just gets you ready to your mouth starts to water, right, Glenn? When you take that nose in and then boom. And then I take a little bit and I get it ready, and then I take a bigger sip, and then I chew it up. I still do the Kentucky chew, they call it, as you know, Mark, in the bourbon world. But I do it with all my spirits, and with a rum especially, because you're getting that wood on the rum, and it just gets it all. It activates it in your mouth. It gets your palate going. So Glenn, we want to do this. Chew that up, man, and it gets all over your mouth. And man, that's delicious.
That's an experience.
And going back to what Marie said, I do get a little bit more of that sweetness, but I also am getting it. The balance is great, man. There's a savory element to it as well.
100%.
Yeah. Off the rip, I get apple.
Mm-hmm.
Off the rip, especially when I first put it to my nose, I got that apple. You know, right? And then I feel that woody, leathery type of like.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So it definitely, if this was Trinidad Carnival, I feel like I'm there now.
Now you're official.
You feel me, big dog? I feel like I done made it now, goddammit.
Except
now you feel like you're home. You're home now.
Yeah, now they dancing and shaking all around me, big dog.
I'm telling you, Glenn, and it is coming the time we can do these again. When that happens, and I don't know, a year or two, whenever that happens again, you do need to get down there, man, because it is the people are amazing. It's just such a warm and friendly place. And the parades, the parts I remember, were so much fun. And just beautiful people everywhere. Not a lot of clothing because it is hot down there.
You don't need that.
Yeah. I remember I had makeup paint. It was a parade with all the paint and everything going on. It was fun. Yeah.
That's dope. I mean, Dan, that was a great pitch for Trinidad Carnival. I've been telling all my boys, I'm like, listen, I feel like the roaring 20s are coming, right? Because after we've all been cooped up inside, right, for the last 9, 10, 11 months, however long it's been at this stage, 2021, hopefully we begin to kind of find our way back to normal. Like the joie de vivre, the love of life, the energy that's going to come once we're past all of this, I think is going to be crazy. And when that happens, there's no way you want to be more than Trinidad Carnival, right? Like Carnival 2022, right? I got a band for Dan. I got a band for Glen. We're gonna do it.
We're in. Well, it's a great point, Mark, because I think that, and we can probably all relate to this. Prior to the pandemic, you get things, you get invited, and you're like, oh, I don't know. I'm just gonna hang out at home. I'll tell you what, man, that's not happening again. When this is over, I am sucking the marrow out of life from now on. Any opportunity I have to go and be with people and have a good time, I'm taking it, because if this pandemic has taught me anything, is that it can be taken away. Yeah. And that ain't happening again. So we're making a vow right here. Me, Glenn, Mark, we're going to be on a float in 2022. 2022, is that what we're going to say? 2022 Carnival, we're on the float. We'll be holding these up high.
Yep.
And the 17-year-old, maybe I'll have a bottle of that by then.
Maybe yeah.
Again, I want to remind everybody, our contest tonight, you're going to win. You have a chance to win a bottle of the Caribbean Dark and then the light rum as well. We're going to give out we're going to give out one of each. John Lennon tragically killed 40 years ago today. That sucks. The uplifting part is give us a John Lennon lyric that lifts you up, lifts your spirits up, put it in quotations, and then one other line, tell us why it does. And Glenn and Mark and I we're gonna pick two winners out there. We're gonna give out some rum. You guys think about that?
All right. I want to hear some good ones, goddammit.
So we're gonna give you got 3 more minutes to get those in, and then they're gonna start coming in. Now, cocktail wise, Mark, what do we do here? What would you do with the dark rum, cocktail wise?
Yeah, my first choice for the dark rum is actually what I'm sipping on while I'm talking to you guys. I'm drinking an old fashioned, rum old fashioned. Super simple, super elegant, flies under the radar. To me, that's the most delicious cocktail you'd make with the dark rum.
I'm assuming you're using Angostura bitters, right?
That's what I'm using. Actually, got it
from Trinidad as well.
Angostura bitters. 1/4 ounce of simple syrup, and 2 ounces of rum. Stir that in a glass with a couple ice cubes. You're good to go. So everybody has all the requisite ingredients at home to make it. That's easily my favorite. And by the way, when you guys were both talking about the notes that you were picking up, I was smiling to myself because you were spot on, both of you, right? Like with the dark rum, again, with both of our rums, we wanted to make the exercise of the nose as inviting as the exercise of actually just tasting it and having it on the palate, right? So you hear a lot of people say they're going to pick up a little bit of like cooked fruit. Glen, you're talking about some apple and stuff, but like cooked fruit and baking spice on the nose, a little bit of banana peel, something that feels very warm and familiar and inviting. Inviting is the word we use for the nose, right? And then when you were tasting it, right, Glen, you were mentioning sort of then you're getting some of the barrel, a little bit of cedar, a little bit of nutmeg, a little bit of vanilla, a little bit of worn leather as part of the notes as well. So it makes for a really, really well balanced rum. And to me, the old fashioned is perfect for those kinds of notes because it works really well alongside the bitters in the syrup, right? And old fashioned is very spirit forward. It gives the rum a chance to shine, right? Has two little backup dancers with the bitters and the simple syrup, and yeah, just really, really effective like that. But I would say start with the old fashioned. And then you can explore the versatility of rum. So if you want to create a Manhattan or a Negroni or even a dark rum daiquiri from there, all of those are options for you.
So basically, anything you're doing whiskey with, you could swap in rum, the dark rum.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we're doing tastings for folks, we'll tell them often that like the rum, the dark rum, is aged in ex-bourbon barrels. And we make a point of mentioning that because we love building bridges to consumers in other categories. So let me tell you, if you're tuning in right now and you're a bourbon lover or you're a whiskey lover and you're a little skeptical about rum, try the dark rum. You'll fall in love with it immediately. And you can use it in a very similar way, right? For those old fashions and Manhattans that you might create otherwise. And and just to be clear, it's an exceptional sipping spirit, right? So you could just drink, Glen's drinking it, you're drinking it right now. Sip it neat. Drop an ice cube in there if you want, and you're good to go. Yeah.
What about eggnog?
Oh, dude,
it's that time of year.
It is. And I'll tell you what, bro. Like right now in New York, so many of our accounts actually are doing like coquito, so coquito season. They're all cousins, right? Eggnog, coquito. In Trinidad, we have punch de creme, which is all the same family. Rum is the spirit in it. Super, super delicious. Yeah, definitely a good time of year to try those.
Beautiful. And then the white rum, we're just going to go the traditional rum cocktails for that?
Yeah, with the white rum. So, we were all laughing before about the slushy daiquiris in Cancun. But what I would say for the white rum is a traditional daiquiri, right? And again, anybody who's listening, a real daiquiri is very simple. It is rum, citrus, which is your lime, and then a little bit of simple syrup, right? It's actually in a lot of ways the simplest and most elegant cocktail you can create. I think any white rum has to pass a daiquiri test before you do anything else with it. So for me, if you're out there trying to figure out like how to create a cocktail with the white rum, I start with the daiquiri and then build from there. I think, by the way, one other thing I'll throw out is if you want to mix it, we talk a lot about what we call the origin serves. So rum and coke is not a part of our consideration set, right? We focus much more on soda water, tonic water, and coconut water. The white rum with coconut water, and that's what you guys will be drinking when you come to Trinidad. The white rum with coconut water is crazy. It's incredible. That would be my recommended mixer for the white.
Shameless plug here. I did a few months ago, I did a 2-part episode of the podcast, What We're Drinking with Dan Dunn, where we did the top 20 most important cocktails ever. I didn't say the best. I said the most important. Right. And I can tell you that I'm having a hard time remembering, either the daiquiri or the margarita was number 1, but they were both in the top 6 or 7, both of those cocktails. Not only, again, in terms of the importance that they had foundationally for other cocktails, obviously being delicious, but Yeah, you're right about that. It's the daiquiri is such a simple cocktail, but yet it's pretty much perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know?
Glenn, you got a favorite rum drink?
Man, if you want to talk about hurricanes, man, when you go down to New Orleans, get you a hurricane, man, it's crazy.
Go to Pat O'Brien's. My goodness. Do you know Pat O'Brien's? I think, Glenn, we talked about this before. Pat O'Brien's, I believe, is by volume, the most successful bar in the world.
That's crazy.
Because they're open 24 hours a day. It's huge. It's always packed. And I have a friend that worked there, and he was telling me that on a weekend, in a 24-hour period, they ring over $100,000.
Holy shit. Really?
Crazy. I mean, you've been, Glenn, those hurricanes are what, $16?
Man, they about this big too, man.
They're $16, but they contain about $1.50 worth of product. You know what I mean? It's like, they're not pouring 10 to 1 in there. You know, they're not pouring. Yeah, they're pouring Kirkland rum or something. I don't even know, but yeah, whatever they're doing. Now, that's the other thing is, how are you getting on now, Marc, with the pandemic, with the rum? I mean, on-premise stuff has probably slowed a little bit, but obviously we're doing stuff with Flaviar and that sort of thing. But how are you managing now the brand during the pandemic?
Yeah, it's a great question, Dan. I mean, when you start a brand like this, the basic playbook you get says that as a young brand, you build your business on premise. So maybe 80% of your volume is going to come from the different bars and restaurants that you're in New York and Chicago and Miami and stuff. March and April roll around and that goes away. Right? I mean, literally for 2 or 3 months, everything was closed, and even now it's coming back very slowly. So we've had to look for a different way, a different path to keep the momentum going. And that's been a combination of, certainly ramping up what we do off premise, right? So getting liquor stores excited about bringing in the product, having consumers coming in and asking for it, calling for it. But then, e-commerce has been huge, right? Like how do you find a way to put your product directly into the hands or into the glasses of your consumer? Flaviar has been incredible, amazing partner for us to kind of accomplish exactly that and bring both the 10 to 1 dark and the white rum to market, right? Sort of nationwide all of a sudden. And we've also done a lot of our own e-commerce as well, right? To really kind of support those efforts. So that's been a big part of the focus. Luckily, in my former life, I mean, we didn't talk about this too much, but in my former life, I actually ran e-commerce for Starbucks. That was my job prior to this. So I was on the executive team there for about 3 years. So I didn't really necessarily expect that I'd be bringing a lot of that all those old tapes to this job, but that's kind of how it shook out.
Well, I know Glen's buying a bunch of rum now, so we're you're in, right?
I'm feeling kind of good, maybe.
These are fun. I gotta say, it's we don't get to do this in person, but nobody wants this to be the normal for too much longer. But I'll take what I can get. It is fun hanging out together, and it's weird how it's become kind of. You're with your friends, you're out in a bar, and you're having a good time, and I kind of feel like I'm sitting with you guys, even though Glen, you're in like Vegas or something, right?
Nah, big dog, I'm in La La Land, man.
Oh, you're here. All right, you're near me. So maybe that is. I just feel your presence near me. All right, let's give away some rum. What do you think?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. So the question was John Lennon lyric and why it was uplifting to you. So we're gonna go in here. Well, we got a bunch. All right. We got Rebecca Peter says, imagine all the people from Imagine. Come on, that's a great one. And she says, dream about what the world could be like. I love that. John Krug, Working Class Hero is something to be. Love that song, Working Class Hero by John Lennon. That's the lyric. And he says, because I work in the basement of a school and I like to think I'm doing good things. Hey, John, I get it. I don't know what you're doing in the basement, but yeah. All right. Andrew Begain. Well, we all shine on like the moon and the stars and the sun. That, of course, is from Instant Karma. And he says it means we've all got a chance to make it happen. I like that, Andrew. Guys, you keeping notes on here? Keeping notes? All right, we're going to figure out the first bottle we're going to give away. Don Jones says, I get by with a little help from my friends, but that's a great Beatles song, but I think Ringo wrote that. I don't think that's a John Lennon lyric. And he says, because friends make life worth living, and he also loves a day in the life. Don Jones is cheating. All right. Flyer Mania, which already is getting, I'm from Philly, so Flyer Mania says, I get by with a little help from my friends. That's not a John Lennon lyric. It's a Beatles song. That's like saying, what was the favorite shot that Glen Davis hit? And you say the one that that three-pointer Ray Allen hit at the buzzer. Yeah, same team, different guy, right? Remember that three-pointer Ray hit to win the game? No, Glen was on the team, but he didn't hit the shot. Sorry, can't. Gotta be fair. It's gotta be rules. Nikki Blandis, all I want is the truth now. And she said, need I say more in 2020? No, you don't.
Oh, we got it.
That's a good one. And Chris Blade from In My Life, there are places I'll remember all my life, though some have changed. And that reminds Chris of just growing up. I like that, Chris. And we got a couple more here. Theodris Makuria. Well, this is not a lyric, but this is something that John Lennon said. Life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans. Oh, it is. It's from Beautiful Boy. That's right. Perfect quote for what's happening right now. Stay healthy and safe, and life will go on after. Danielle Quick says that John once said, our society is run by insane people for insane objectives. Okay. And then Gregory Collins, time you enjoy wasting was not wasted. Important to remember when taking a break from stressful times. All right, guys. Any jump out at you? You want to give away the white one first? The white rum?
Yeah, let's do it.
Glenn, any of those jump out at you?
What do you think, Glenn?
Yeah, I got one. I think I got one that I liked.
Okay.
I think it was, can I say the name?
Yeah.
Chris. When he said, we talk about,
Chris Blade.
Chris Blade, I like that.
There are places I'll remember all my life, though some have changed. That's from the song In My Life. And he said that just reminds him of growing, or him or her, I'm not sure, of growing up. And I agree with you, Glenn. That's a good one.
That's a good one. I like that.
Why don't we say, Chris, you have won the 10-1 Caribbean White Rum.
Dope. Congrats.
Big dog.
All right. Now, Mark, we're going to let you pick the winner of the dark rum.
All right. So I need to hear Nikki's and then John King. What were those two again? Can you remind me, Dan?
John Krug.
John Krug.
Yeah, John Krug is from the song Working Class Hero.
Yeah.
A working class hero is something to be. And John works in a school, and he likes to think that he's doing good things as a working class hero. And I think that's a great sentiment. Mm-hmm. And then Nikki Blandis said, all I want is the truth now. And need I say more for 2020? Man.
That's tough, right?
I mean, you could just throw in an extra bottle of rum. No,
no. Listen, I think it's actually the solution. That like
is that the solution?
I think that's the solution.
You're gonna do that?
2020's been tough enough. Let's just like make this a feel good experience.
Awesome.
I thought John's quote was great. I thought Nikki's was super dope. 2020, need we say more? 2 bottles, just make it happen.
Well, look at that, man, Mark. That's awesome of you. So you both won, John and Nikki. The guys will hit you up. Hit the message to them. You both won a bottle, 10-1 Caribbean dark rum.
Make sure you enjoy, John and Nikki.
Doesn't it look good with my brick wall in the background there?
Yeah, I mean, it was made for that wall.
It was kind of made for that wall. Guys, I got to tell you, this has been a great hour hanging out. It's been an hour. It doesn't feel like an hour. It feels like 15 minutes. I'm excited for the future and the time that we're going to spend down in Trinidad and Tobago during Carnival. Glenn, I got to tell you something, though, man. You're in LA, too. Before we go, me and you got to be hitting the stairs and stuff, man, because we got to work.
Man, you ain't ready for me, man. You old man, bro.
Everybody's ripped down there.
You old man, bro. I work out like a pro, man. You know what I mean? You gotta catch up. Man.
Mark looks like he's in great shape, and so I'm just saying.
Like about 1,000 push-ups right now.
Yo, we gotta get swole before the Flaviar live, you know.
So Glenn, tell everybody where to find you on the social media. You still doing the barbecue sauce?
Yeah, buddy, it's getting cracking, man. I got a lot of things going, man. You can find me on GB Baby Davis. I am Big Baby, my Twitter, my Facebook. Got barbecue sauce coming out. I got the Big Baby Show. It's a variety show. It's not just about basketball. We're doing everything. Big Baby's going everywhere. It's going to meet all types of new people. You know, it's going to be so much fun. I want you guys to tune in. If you get a chance, go check it out when it drops. That's about it, man. You can go subscribe right now to the Glen Big Baby Davis show on YouTube. You can go subscribe to that. And we got some heat coming, man. That's about it, man. Just staying Corona free. You know what I'm saying?
That's it, brother. It's great to see you, man. Really, you're always you are a breath of fresh air, man. You got good energy. I like doing this with you. And Mark, you make a hell of a rum, man. You really do. And
appreciate it, my brother. Yeah. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it, man. It's fun to share the virtual stage with both of you guys for the last hour for sure. Glad you enjoyed the rum, and yeah, let's do this again soon. It'd be great.
Yes. And everybody out there that's watching, I don't know if we're doing another one of these this year. We're coming to the end of 2020. Jesus.
Yep.
Not that, that said, you got to be careful in January, February, do all that stuff. But I'm going to just say this to you. I didn't imagine I'd be doing this year virtually from my house over Zoom or Skype or whatever we're doing it over. But I got to say, it's something I look forward to, week in and week out is getting to come here and do this and hang with people like Glen Davis and Marc Farrell. And of course, you guys and all the comments that you come in with. And it's I hope if I don't see you again this year, I hope that you have a wonderful holiday season, a safe one, very important. Hold on to the people you love. I think we all learned that lesson this year. And again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being part of NightCap Live with us. And we'll see you soon, hopefully. And thank you, Glen and Mark.
Hey, pleasure, Dan.